You really are perfectly poised to lead us in this conversation around AI, aren't you? It's almost as though
Yes, it
all
was amazing. I was
really,
like, wow,
really, I
this
mean,
is more important than
sometimes
ever.
the stars just align. And so I am so glad, Rebecca, that you are involved as you are on this global scale, understanding where we are and what we need to do now, today, this minute, without wasting any more time, because our kids deserve this. I have so many things I've circled about how we can help our kids. We're on the sweet spot for learning that sleep and sleep and sleep, the crucialness of this. Um, I love big posters coming up. What is your plan? And then, of course, coming always from non-judgment. And I also loved when you talked about that resistor, about that iceberg. Here's the behavior, but what's underneath this iceberg? And you're making me think about Ned Johnson when he talks about if we're making all the decisions, this muscle is never going to be activated. And so much here. I have a question to start us off. What's the number one question that you often get when you give this chat?
Oh, Jenny, what is our number one? Do you have
Do
one?
you know what yes, definitely.
Go ahead.
I've gotten it from a lot of parents, but I get it from a lot of teens, and I love because it's so spot on. You say explore mode is the pinnacle of the engagement mountain,
Ah,
but our
yes.
schools say achievement is the pinnacle of the achievement of
Ah,
the engagement mountain. So no way am I going to listen to you. So how is it true that these things are live side by side? The system that you're describing and the one that I live in are not the same thing.
that's
One,
excellent.
Rebecca, do you want to answer it?
yeah, no, well, I want to assure parents that this is real, this tension, but that explore mode, when kids get into explore mode, they get actually the best grades in the school.
Sure.
They also develop sort of, they're more interesting because they have real interests. And that's actually what college admissions officers often look for. They don't look so much for I'm going to do a million things, and spread myself thin, but I have a deep, true, intrinsic passion, and I do a couple things well. The other thing I wanted to say, because somebody on the webinar, Jericho, was talking about how burned out her son was and feels the pressure to take AP classes. Um, this is data I just learned from the College Board. Jenny and I are doing a big presentation for the College Board, who of course runs AP classes and creates AP, and they're getting worried that they have, sort of over-indexed on achiever mode. And so they're trying to do what they can to roll it back. And one of their new research findings is that it really doesn't matter how many AP classes your student takes after they take five. Like, colleges don't admit you if you take eight versus five, 10 versus five, 12 versus five. Like, so you don't have to feel this pressure to take 100 AP classes. It doesn't actually increase your chances in college admission. So I say this because I think a lot of schools are trying to move towards explore mode, and we do see that they often say, but my parents want achiever mode because they think this is how kids are going to get into college. So it's a little bit of a we need a little bit of like a therapy session between families and schools and teens and college admissions, because
Oh,
everybody wants explore mode and
yeah.
looking for it, and but not everybody believes that of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
if I can jump in too, just and I think that Paul would probably back me up here, but that's so great to hear you say that, Dr. Winthrop, that as a school leader, we are looking for students that are in explorer mode, and we are always looking for opportunities for students to voice, show that advocacy, to here's the things that I want to do, here's ways that I could do it, both inside the classroom, outside the classroom, before school, after school, on the weekends. And one of the things that I read through your work is that boosting the engagement is an area that's ripe for student and family school partnerships, right? And so the more that we can be partnering, whether maybe that's through therapy, like you suggested, or just being really creative and being explorers ourselves, right? I think when we
Yeah,
model our own exploration, that's going to
totally.
help to motivate our teachers and then motivate the students as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't mean actual therapy, but I do think
I mean,
d
sure.
dialogue talking about these issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll come
absolutely.
back to Sean. We'll come back to you with a question. Paul, you're
Wow.
up for a question.
Wow. What a presentation. And I'm just going to lift up one of the commenters, Jennifer Lara B. I'm truly gobsmacked at the amount of critical, helpful information you provided in less than 60 minutes. Absolutely spectacular. That is an amazing comment and totally agree with her. I mean, I was hooked from your first slide in the disconnect between parents and students on the do you love school? And what a real interesting piece. And we've always known from that third grade, kids are kind of in that, kids and parents are right there. But boy, to see that steep decline of our students and where their love for school is at, I think it's one of those really powerful graphics that should shake every educator to their core to be able to understand the work the two of you amazing individuals have presented here today. It really was gobsmacked. I mean, outstanding.
Yeah, yeah. Let's take Gina's question. What's the best way for teachers to assess student learning in Explorer mode?
Jenny, do you want to go there? Do you want me to dip in first and you can add?
You
What
go.
do you prefer?
You start, and then I'll add.
Yeah. So one of the things that it really built on Sean's point about we need to be in explore mode too.
Mm.
And he's talking about educators being in explore mode to support kids in explore mode. So there is an entire rubric around seeing what academics call agentic engagement, which is explore mode, which is, am I taking initiative? Am I making suggestions? Am I asking for independent work once I've sort of finished what I'm doing? And so teachers can there's actual rubrics on how to assess sort of initiative taking, again, within the confines of the lesson. So these are things that like a classroom instructor can do, but it also means that the classroom instructor has to allow for some initiative taking. So, for example, hey, I'm going to give you a homework assignment and you can pick one of three options for how you present your work. That's small little bit of choice. Offering, hey, could you give me some feedback on what you may need to learn better, what I could do better, like offering some really good suggestions there are all little small. They seem very small, but they actually make a big difference to students and how sort of respected they feel and how invested they feel in the teaching and learning process.
You'll see there's a question here. And again, you made a joke about therapy, but really, really, we really do need to look at ourselves and see that we talk about this in every program, that wanting to prepare the road for the child and understanding that it's about preparing the child for the road and not the road for the child. And here's a question. I know you suggested that we not check the assignments, but what about it when they're lax about studying and they're not turning in their week and work and their grades are starting to slip? Words of wisdom, ladies.
So we're definitely not saying don't intervene at all. I think that there's some research we cite in the book from John Hattie, which really shows that the more of a monitoring and surveillance stance that we take as parents, the less input they're willing to take from us, and the sort of worse the outcomes. And so I think there's sort of number one, it's not super effective is kind of ground zero here. But we are not in any way saying, let it be. This isn't a sort of free for all, choose your own adventure, you be you. We're not saying that at all. Really, I want to clarify that your job is not to make a plan for them, and your job is not to let go of everything. It is to help them learn to plan. And I know it sounds really subtle, but really the difference is, as Rebecca said, a shocking number of kids do not know how to study, do not know how to manage a project that is different from this is due tomorrow. That's kind of an elementary school level thing. And then we get into middle school and we start having these plans, multiple subjects, and you're balancing more and some projects that take more time. There's a lot of skills that get developed in that space, and a lot of kids miss something, didn't have it, didn't develop it, and don't panic. These are skills that can be developed, executive function skills. This can happen, but our job is to help them make a plan, non-judgmentally, have them weigh in and reflect on their plan. Hey, you decided to, what was your plan last night? It was to study after dinner. How did that go? Well, I didn't actually study. Should we make another plan? Like, again, your job isn't to say that was like the dumbest plan ever. Like, of course you were never going to study after dinner. You hate studying after dinner. You just want to watch TV. You're not telling them that. Teachers are brilliant at this. They help kids get to the answer. And sometimes parents, we just want to offer the answer and get them there quickly from love, from desperation. And really, we just have to sit back, let them make a plan, low stakes, monitor them, have them reflect on the plan, and then make another plan. And there might be a lot of really ugly plans that go down before you come up with one that might work even just a little bit. It is a long term. We're teaching them how to be sort of decision makers and planners, and that's a process that takes a while, and it's not as efficient as we would like.
But the one other thing I would add, Gilda, and I know we're coming up on time, but is, there will be cases when kids are really struggling. We hear a lot of like, well, my son does all the homework, he just never turns it in, where there really is either ADHD undiagnosed or, an executive function disorder, and they do need intervention. And so if you're doing what we recommend to do, which is what Jenny just said, beautifully outlined, and it's been a couple months, I'm not saying 2 weeks, because it takes a while. You can contact your school's counselor and be like, hey, I'm struggling. This is what I'm doing at home. Is there something we should do together?
I want to ask you both this last, we're getting so close, but this is so important. What did you do differently in communication with your own child after doing the research?
Well, I was big in the nagging procrastination loop from hell. And so I really did the make a plan business. So Jenny, what about you?
I think I was in the classic, I'm not going to ask about grades, but I'm going to ask about grades in like 15 indirect, so not subtle ways. And so I stopped, because that's if my kids are stuck in achiever mode, that's not what they need from me. They need something completely different. And so I've just kind of, instead of trying to be creative about the questions I'm asking, I don't go there.
Beautiful. Sean, a closing comment from you.
No, just so many great things that I think can help both parents and educators. And I look forward to more conversations. Any Glenbard or parents on here, please reach out to your teachers, reach out to your administrators, because this is really exciting work and really what all of our schools and our students need.
Thank you for writing this book. We're really grateful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
For having
you.
us.
Thank you for having us.
Continued good
Bye,
work,
everybody.
ladies.
Thank you.
Take care.